Hello everyone, my name is Alexander Kazina, aka Kozibear, and I'd like to thank you for joining me this evening for another installment of Season 5 of Kozibear's Cooking. Didn't think that we'd be able to get past Season 1, but here we are, right at the top, something, something, something. I think that might be a Drake quote. Don't know that we can say that in the year of our Lord 2024 anymore. Okay, we got all the housekeeping out of the way. Let's get into tonight's episode. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing two different dishes. We are going to be making a standard omelet, and then after that, we are going to be making what I am calling a cheeseburger omelet. Basically, if you've ever had a Western omelet, which is an omelet that has a lot of different toppings and vegetables and meats integrated into it, think that, but exclusively with cheeseburger-y ingredients. So first things we're going to do is we're going to mix together our 2 eggs, salt, and pepper for the standard omelet. So we have over here a nice carton of eggs. We're going to grab ourselves 2 brown eggs. There we go. It's a good, nice, good crack. Thicky-ish. And we're just going to put a little bit of salt in there, add a little bit of black pepper, and now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a little bit of whisking. I wonder if I put maybe a little bit too much black pepper. And yeah, I think that's pretty good. I'll go ahead and I'll put this over here to the side. We have something very cool in store for y'all. I actually bought a portable burner, and I also bought a kind of portable hood range, which is one of those little portable exhaust fans that will suck up other air and detritus as we go along. Heats up pretty quickly, so we don't need to wait too long. While it's heating up, let's go ahead and let's get our butter on this thing. Heaping half tablespoon, but I think that's acceptable. So the thing about making an omelet is we could just pour the eggs on here onto the burner, and we could basically just let it cook naturally, maybe flip it over once, and we'd be good to go. However, we're actually going to be a little bit more advanced in our technique. What we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be sort of scraping up parts of the egg as it begins to set. And as we do so, like, cover up other parts of the omelet. And there we go. The moment we start to see the edges of the omelet set, so then we got to start pushing it in. So we're going to do that starting right now. It's going really fast. When you have to, of course, you can pour a little bit of the egg around the edges to the extremities where it's not reaching. You see there's a little bit of uncooked egg in the center there, so we're just going to let it move out like that. We are going to go ahead and we're going to drop these slices on half of our little egg mixture. I think we're good. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip it over. This is like secretly kind of the hard part, because I think I did a pretty good job flipping it over, but obviously you wish that you could entirely flip it over so it's literally half with the cheese perfectly in the center. And you know what? Something that we could do, actually, this is just extra credits. You don't even need to really do this. Take a little bit of extra butter at this stage. You can actually put it in the pan, and basically you can use the fast melting butter to really provide a nice greasing on the other side of the omelet that's currently cooking. Silas in the chat says it's a mean looking omelet. It is. You know what? Actually, I was originally going to use a small plate for this one. I'm going to actually use the big plate. Matto Batto says, between the cheddar and extra butter, wouldn't the omelet get greasy? We will certainly find out. Pretty good. I don't think that was that bad at all. I thought that was actually a perfect level of greasiness. All right. We made our standard omelet, which means that it is time for us to step up to the big leagues and make our cheeseburger omelet. So we're going to be starting off by making our onion mixture. We're going to cut it in half like that. So what we're actually going to be doing is we're actually going to be doing half and half, half a tablespoon of butter and half a tablespoon of olive oil, in fact. I think we're good, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to schlep our onions in here. We're going to use the same spatula that we used for our eggs a little bit earlier. Now, the recipe says that what we want to do with our onions is we want to not cook them too fast. We want to make sure that they, properly and fully come into their own. The specific recipe that I'm consulting on allrecipes.com says, if the onions stick to the bottom of the pan, deglaze with a tablespoon of red wine vinegar, balsamic vinegar, or just plain old wine. We're going to be deglazing our onions with a little bit of balsamic vinegar, which is what I'm currently holding up right now. In our trolley, actually, you might be interested to know, I do have, for the sake of kitchen safety, a fire extinguisher. I always have this on hand, so if anything randomly should go haywire, I will be safe because I will have the power of the fire extinguisher in my hand. He says, guys, we're safe. He's got a fire extinguisher. Yeah, don't worry. You put me in front of any issue, any problem, and I will solve it with the fire extinguisher. Are you being chased down by a giant raging elephant? I'll bash it real good with the fire extinguisher. By the way, don't actually harm real-life elephants. Real-life elephants are great, wonderful creatures and don't deserve to get bashed in the head. Let's actually start assembling the egg mixture that we're going to use for our cheeseburger omelet. For the fun of it, I'm going to go ahead, because we're dealing with a big frying pan, I'm actually going to crack in a 5th egg into our egg mixture. I'll add a little bit of salt, a little bit of black pepper as well. I think our caramelized onions are done. I think we're good. I'm gonna go ahead and I am going to transfer these caramelized onions to this little bowl. Funny, because all said and done, like, not really a lot. It's a pretty small amount of finished product, but very flavorful. Pretty good. And we are going to whisk these bad boys up real good. Okay, I think our egg mixture is good for the time being. Next up, we are going to be making our hamburger mixture. So the idea is that basically we're making a hamburger patty mixture, but without any eggs mixed in, because what we want to do is we want to create basically like a mix of like seasoned ground beef in our pan, which we will then put on top of our omelet. Cooking is definitely one of those things where it's like, unless you're in danger of burning down the house, don't be afraid to experiment a little bit. Don't let people on the internet tell you, no, you can only make a pizzoli this way. We're going to go ahead and we're going to add in Worcestershire sauce, which is a word that I struggled to pronounce pretty much my entire life. It was only very recently that I learned that, oh, it's actually pronounced like that. We actually just bought this bottle of soy sauce, so we're going to remove the cap from it. There we go. I think that's good. 1/2 tablespoon brown sugar. There we go. That's good. Let's see here. 3/8 teaspoon of salt. Oh, there we go. That should be enough. 1/4 teaspoon of ground black pepper. I'm just gonna do a lot of grinding. Mato says, water and eggs, soy sauce and brown sugar and hamburger meat. This is wild. Oh, just you wait. It's about to get even more wild. We're adding in some smoked paprika. Jar is very big and the amount of smoked paprika left in it is very small. Got our smoked paprika in there. Next up is our 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. And last but not least is our onion powder. Onion powder, after all these years, is still perfectly tasty. All right, and with that, we're gonna go ahead and we are going to mix all this up. A lot of people will say that the best way to kind of mix up ground beef is to actually use your hands, which I can attest to is true. Problem is that I've not actually washed my hands in a hot minute. Oh, wait a minute. Hey, look at that. It's a new addition to Kozibear's Cooking Season 5, the sink camera. You'll probably be seeing me with my hands washing them with ample amounts of soap. Wash them dry. Mato says the potential this will unlock. This was an idea I had had since the beginning of Season 4 that initially I was sort of hesitant to integrate just because I knew it was going to be a little bit of work. I'm very pleased with the way it looks. I think that it looks really nice. Because this butter has been in kind of close proximity of the portable burner, it's actually very slightly melted, which actually helps us a little bit. Our butter is ready for us, so let's go ahead and let's get our little globule of meat in the pan. And what I'm going to be using is I'm actually going to be using this wooden spoon to break up our meat as we cook it. We want to make sure during this process of us cooking the beef that we mix it up and mash it up as much as possible so it doesn't coalesce into a big globule of meat. I'm going to go ahead. I'm setting up a cutting board over here because what we're going to want to do is we're actually going to want to cut up some of our vegetables a little bit. The idea is I want to use 1/4 cup of sliced pickles, 1/4 cup of sliced cherry tomatoes, and 1/4 cup of shredded iceberg lettuce. For the cherry tomatoes, I think what we're going to do is we're just going to cut these guys in half. I'm going to kind of keep it simple. We'll chop up our iceberg lettuce a little bit. You know what? I'm going to start with half of this thing. So I'm going to temporarily put this part to the side. Yeah, this is definitely going to be enough. The last thing are the pickles. I bet if I grab 4 things of pickles will be good. You know what? I'm going to start with 3 because the thing is pickles are delicious, but they're also like perhaps overly flavorful. They can really influence the taste of a dish in a way that can be surprising and intense. So I'll start with 3. We'll cut these up into some small pieces. Will we have 1/4 cup? It's a little bit under 1/4 cup, but I don't think we want to overdo it. So I think we'll just use that amount of pickles. Speaking of wet, let me just have a little bit of water. We are going to take the ground beef mixture that we made, and we're going to actually put it into the same bowl as the caramelized onions from earlier. So here's the thing. Matto, you're saying, oh, I'm a little bit concerned about the pickles messing with anything I make because it can be a little bit watery. What if I told you that right now we're going to remove a little bit of that moisture by actually cooking them up in our frying pan? This will be a fun way to flavor blast our already sure to be very flavorful omelet dish. There we go. We still have a spoon on hand. Yes, we do. And we're going to use a spoon to mix up our mixture. Now this is looking good and smelling good. With that done, we are in our end game, which means that we are going to bring in the mother of all omelet making, baking thingamabobs so that we can pour egg mixture onto here. Frying pan. I was like, what word is it that you use to call this thing? Sometimes words, they just elude you, unfortunately. It's stuck in the thing now. And we are going to let our butter nice all melty. Hydra test. Ooh, I like that. So now we wait for the edges of the eggs to begin to curdle up, begin to stiffen, and then we will push it into the center. Push, push, push. It's taking a little bit longer this time. All right, let's do a little bit. We'll spread around our mixture a little bit. Well, problem is that it's a little bit too big of an omelet, and so parts of it are breaking up, but that's okay. Matt Obata says, Kronk, it's all coming together, gift. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's go ahead and let's put our hamburger mixture on half of this thing. And, not to be outdone, put our cheese. All right, this is where things get a little tricky. We want to flip this over to the best of our ability. I don't know if we'll be able to do this all in one go, but we're going to try our best. 1, 2, 3. Woo! I did it! I actually did it! I mean, there's some parts here that we gotta mop up, make sure that all this stuff is integrated so it looks all nice. But we actually did it for the most part. I didn't think I was going to be able to fully flip it over. I thought for sure it was going to break apart. Let's have a quick enhanced top-down view of this beauty. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. It's an omelet with the power and strength and ferocity of a cheeseburger. Folks, it's time to go down the hatch. Wow. Okay. I did not expect that to straight up taste like a cheeseburger. And I mean, it's not super surprising because it's all the things that you put in a cheeseburger, but straight up, this is a genuinely, this is a great meeting of the minds, as it were, of both omelets and cheeseburgers. I am shocked by how successful this is. I have on hand a little bit of ketchup, good old Heinz ketchup. Does it taste even more like a cheeseburger when I have some ketchup on top? Yeah, wow. This thing tastes like an actual cheeseburger. I am shocked. And nothing feels overpowering. The eggs, the hamburger mixture, the tomatoes, the pickles, which we were a little bit concerned about, the caramelized onions, the iceberg lettuce. I mean, nobody expected the iceberg lettuce to be overpowering, but it all comes together really nicely, and I'm shocked it does. Matt Obata says, this is the one recipe that remedies the controversy over whether ketchup belongs on eggs. I mean, here, you don't need the ketchup to enjoy this particular dish. It tasted totally fine when I had it a moment ago without ketchup, but yeah, it just comes together great either way.